wow, you guys have really taken off on this getting started with the DTF transfers program. Orders are coming in. And I've had a few questions, so I want to address the commonly asked questions about the program and how to do it, so stick around for a minute. Well, so you guys are covering me up with orders, so this is going really well. I'm really happy to see how many people have decided to make the jump and try this. I think this was a good start and a good way to get you guys introduced to it with minimal risk and help you through the process. The first question that I've been asked a few times is, do I need to complete my gang sheet right now because I just don't have time, or maybe I'm on, somebody, I think one person said they were on vacation, another person was out of town for work. So no, you don't. Your initial purchase is buying the program, not buying the gang sheet. So when you purchase the program, it throws you into a group automatically. It's going to send you some emails automatically and everything, and you'll have the links to the page for when you're ready to do that. So you can do your gang sheet at your leisure. You don't have to do it right away. And we're here to help you too. So if you run into any problems, you can use the live chat on the website, or preferably post it in our Facebook group if you don't need an answer right away, because we would like to share that information with other people who might encounter the same thing or would like to learn from other people. A lot of people are lurkers, I guess you could say. They sit back and they watch and observe and listen and they read and see what other people have problems with, and then they gain their confidence through learning from others that way. And the other common question that I've had from several people, they've asked it several different ways because of several different sources, but can I use designs from, and they've given me Creative Fabrica, Etsy, design bundles, and any other source that you can think of out there. And the answer is yes. And I think this has been one of the real roadblocks for people mentally on trying DTF transfers. And that is, you're not changing what you're really doing, except where you get the ultimately get the transfer from. So if you have a design and you've been able to cut it with your Cricut or your Silhouette or whatever machine you have, and you have it in an SVG or maybe a PNG or whatever it is, and you already have that file, or if you're looking for files, keep that same mentality. Keep thinking like you're looking for something to cut on your machine, an SVG file or cut file, and you're ensured that those will work well for DTF too, especially if you have the SVG files. Now, sometimes PNG files can be not as good a quality, or they can have some transparency and things like that, so just be aware of those pieces. But otherwise, what you're changing is the point at which you produce the transfer. Instead of sending it to your machine and cutting it in vinyl or heat transfer vinyl, you're going to send it to us and let us print it and send it to you. So if you're using files that maybe you've used print and cut, or maybe a file that you would normally use print and cut, and get say a transfer for dark materials that you would use like in an inkjet printer, like the Nina product, or a 3G opaque or something like that, where you would print it and then the machine would cut around that design. Those will work great. Those designs will work great. And you just upload it to us and we'll print it and send it to you, instead of you having to print and cut and weed it on your machine, and you're using your own printer. And the DTF transfers, of course, are much more durable than an inkjet transfer, much more stretchy, softer, thinner, matte finish, all the benefits that come along with that, and none of the negatives, like number of washes. With most of the inkjet printable transfers, after like 15-20 washes, you start to see it fading, everything. You don't get that with the DTF. We've put it in 100% bleach, and it doesn't fade the transfer one bit. It ate the cotton around the shirt, the shirt away, material away, but not the transfer itself. So they're very durable. And so just keep that same mentality of the types of designs you're looking for, or choose designs out of our gallery for the purposes of the program to get your transfer and test it and everything. Now, the one thing I will say is that SVG files will have sometimes have problems in them that are not really something you can detect unless a piece of software tells you about it. an SVG file is not really an image file, it's XML code. So if you were to open it up in Notepad or something and look at it, you'll see all the code. And basically it's mathematical equations that tell it, where to draw the lines and how to arc the curves and angles and colors and fonts that it's used and things like that. And there can be, it's one of those things where I say with technology, there's a problem with standards. There's too many of them. I worked in IT for 25 years. Believe me, there's way too many standards on the same things. And the one fix that I have found for SVG files is, and I don't use this program a lot, but Affinity Designer. If you have an SVG file and you try to upload it to our gang sheet builder, if it gives you an error, you can open it in Affinity Designer and save it again as a new file, and it'll usually work. It will strip out anything that's not compliant. And I've not really found any other program that'll do that. Inkscape, none of the online tools or anything. And then the other thing you can also do with your SVG files is you can convert them to a PNG a number of ways. You go to websites like svg2png.com and convert them. You can put them into Photoshop or any of the design programs like that, or GIMP, and convert them and save them as PNG. Inkscape will convert and export as a PNG file. The one thing you want to be careful is if you use an online tool, most of those don't let you choose what size to output your PNG file. So if you're wanting to take an SVG file and get a 10.5 inch transfer, PNG file out of it for printing, when you upload that SVG files can be in multiple sizes. So if it's saved natively bigger than that, and then you get your PNG file and you shrink it down, that's not going to be a problem. However, if your SVG file is only like 3 inches by 3 inches and you convert it to a PNG of the same size and then you try to stretch it out, it's going to get blurry and fuzzy. And you're going to lose all that detail, and it's going to be a problem for DTF printing. So it's the same standards as far as file quality and image and everything else goes. So another way to look at it is if you're able to upload that design and put it into your Cricut Design Space software, change it to a print and cut, set your paper to a 13 by 19 inch paper size, and make it whatever size you want within that range so that the Cricut would print and cut it. But instead of printing it, save it as an SVG file, save it as a PDF file. You print, and then you choose print to PDF and save that file. You can upload that directly to our gang sheet builder. Now, I did a previous video where I showed you how to open the PDF file and erase those registration marks before you upload it. You don't even really need to do that because there's enough space around those that we'll literally just print that, and then you can just cut around it when you get your transfer. So just cut those out. It's not a big deal. So I was probably thinking that through a little bit too much and showing more than I needed to, because you can just upload them. It's not a problem. The only thing you have to watch for is the size of your image on the screen. You want to use the rulers to visualize that, because these registration marks are usually spaced out a little bit. And so if you make your design, if it says it's 10 inches on the screen, there might be a little gap between those registration marks in the actual image. So when you cut those out, your design might go from 10 inches down to 9 inches or something. I don't know what the spacing is on it, but just something to be aware of. And those tips right there are really pretty much what everyone's asked. No, you don't have to do your gang sheet right away. Buy the program before the end of August to get in on it, and then you can do it at your leisure. You could do it tomorrow, you could do it next week, whatever. I really don't care. I'd like to get them as soon as I can so I can get them printed and out to people and keep the momentum going and everything, but you don't have to do them right away. Just buy the program and get in on it. The second thing is where to find designs. So you can get them from our gallery. There's a few hundred designs out there now, or all your standard designs that you're looking for from Etsy, Design Bundles, Creative Fabric, or whatever those sites are that you usually get your designs from. You can use designs that are in Cricut Design Space. Just do the same thing, make them the 13 by 19 page size them up, change them to print and cut, print to a PDF file, and save them and upload them. So any of those options will get you to where you need to be. So hopefully that's been helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below the video.